Good morning and happy Sunday, everybody. Sorry for the little bit of a delay there, but I'm trying something new out here and hopefully it's going to work so that I can actually come from my Facebook page along with Zoom and all that other stuff. So one reason I wanted to do this is because it was so much fun before, and a lot of you guys miss having the opportunity to reach out, give your comments, and participate. So if the only place you can do that is on my home Facebook page. So if you're on my home Facebook page watching this, you want to make a comment, great. Love to interact with you. And we're going to do something fun today. We're going to actually draw some cards, wisdom from A Course in Miracles. So, and we're going to discuss those, and I'm going to pick them for the group, and we'll just know that Spirit's in charge and leading us through this journey, and it's going to be fun. But before we go there, just wanted to say I hope you guys had a great week. It's been a very busy week here on this end. Besides just the usual stuff that's going on, we also have a lot of friends who are dealing with some big stuff, and it's tough times for a lot of people, friends and family going through some struggles, and physical, emotional, spiritual, all of the above. So hey, it's been busy, but that's what we're here to do, to serve one another and to help one another and support each other the best that we can. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and how important it is to, I know we talked last year about, one of my Sundays was your vibe attracts your tribe. And I think it's so important, more than ever, that we do have our tribe of support. And that comes in many different ways. It comes from neighbors, family, close friends, support groups, all of the above, one or two of the above. But it's really important because right now, as I go through day to day, hearing, with the prayer ministry, which please continue to submit your prayers. I receive just tragic situations for requesting prayer. And it's like, wow, people are really struggling out there. And more than ever, we need to reach out, ask for help. And if you're able to offer that support is so important. I'd like to just say one of our ministers lost her partner this week. He died unexpectedly, and our hearts and prayers go out. He was not an old fella at all. She's young, and you just never know. So we're here to make the best of every moment and every day, because you know what? We don't know how long we're here for. We could be gone in an instant or another 40 years. But what I would suggest is make the best of it, have fun, enjoy your life, and don't sweat the small stuff. What do they say? Don't sweat the small stuff. And then remember, it's all small stuff. I think I shared with you that near-death video that I watched of this guy a couple of weeks ago, and it was fabulous. And his experience of drowning as a teenager, this was probably 60 some years ago, in Michigan, and his trip to the afterlife and back. And one of the messages he got from Spirit or God was, and look how upset you got over that. Don't take any of it so seriously. And I think if we could just learn to just go with the flow, not take things so seriously, enjoy life, do that which makes your heart sing, really look at everything in our lives and say, okay, is this bringing me joy? It's a declutter process, right? It's because when we're carrying burdens, whether they be mental burdens, relationship burdens, stuff, I like the teaching with clutter. Hold something in your hand, and if you really just don't love it and it doesn't make you feel great, let it go. And that's so important. And that's really what we're going through right now, is with our, little redo in our house, just really looking at things, letting go of stuff, and only keeping things that make us feel inspired and uplifted. Well, we need to also take the time to do that in all areas of our life. With is this food going to make me feel better or worse? Is this situation, relationship, inspire me, uplift me, or is it something that maybe I need to reconsider or change my relationship to it, whatever. But question everything, let go of the baggage, let your self fly, and enjoy the journey. Last night, for whatever reason, Ellen and I have very strange hours. I don't think we're alone in this. A lot of people seem to be experiencing the same up late, middle of the night type thing. And it just is what it is, gotten kind of used to it. But what we did last night was watched the memorial service, or celebration of life, I should say, for a lovely woman who made her transition on Easter Sunday. She was a local minister. She and her husband, John, and Barbara Waterhouse, Barbara was her name, founded the Science of Mind Church here in Asheville area. And they, wonderful people. And she left this earth early and somewhat, started with a stroke a couple of years ago and followed by cancer. And interestingly enough, here's this woman, if you knew her when she was not dealing with physical issues, she was a strong force of light. And that memorial celebration of her life, there were a lot of speakers. It was 3 hours long. And it was so touching and heartfelt, and to hear her husband speak at the end was so moving. And just a reminder, number one, life is short no matter how long it is. And number two, to see the gifts and the blessings that this one woman brought into the world. I mean, how much light she brought in. So well done, Barbara. And those are just all points to ponder and consider. So everybody, I ask you to join me with anybody and everybody who needs prayer for anything and everything, which is everybody. I would imagine we're all dealing with something, right? Let's just take a minute and just surround our entire planet and everybody on it with just pure white healing light and love, and just know that the light is transforming all fear and sickness into perfect light and love and joy and freedom, and all is well. And continue to send that vibration, that energy out into the world, because our world needs it right now. And the good news is, I'm a big believer that we're going through massive change. This is the change of the ages. We have never been through transformation and acceleration of awakening like we are now. So as we've talked about so many times, that with that change becomes a lot of letting go. And we can let go with claw marks, or we can just let go and trust the process. So when we feel anxious or afraid or sick, just know that it's all okay, and that we came here to experience these challenging times, and they are. We came here to experience those for our greater good, individually and collectively. So it's up to us, moment by moment, to choose the voice that directs my experience. Am I tuning into the still small voice of the Holy Spirit, which is the voice that leads me to peace and comfort? Or am I following the voice of fear, the ego, which is afraid and judgmental and anxious? So it's a moment by moment choice. We have the power to accept and reject everything that we put into our mind and our body. And all I can say is choose wisely. So again, feel free to reach out, ask any questions, make some comments, and love to, as I said, though, you can only comment if you're watching it on my website or on my Facebook business page or ADM. I mean, no matter, well, it doesn't matter. If you can write a question, do it. And in the meantime, here we go. So these cards are so powerful. And when I was doing, gosh, I've been teaching the course for many, many years, lots. But anyway, since, gosh, it's been 35 years at least. Anyway, I've taught many, 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 many classes. I still teach a class on Friday. The class on Friday, everyone is welcome to join us. It is some of the most spiritually mature people that I've ever worked with as a group. I think the group is very mindful, thoughtful, deep, willing to take responsibility, coming not to fight, but to heal. And when I say fight, I don't mean picking a fight, but resist, I guess I should say. It's a group of people just saying, you know what, I know that this is the path for me, and I want to follow it the best I can, and I want to be supported in that. So you're all welcome to join. It's Friday. All you got to do is zip me a message. Fridays at 11 a.m. But back to the fact of, there was time in Florida that I used to actually teach 3 groups a week and have a Sunday service at the Palm Beach Center for Living. And we had great guest speakers from the Course in Miracles that came in from all over the country. It was really awesome. And we always, not always, but often would either start or everyone would choose a card. And what these are is, this is, as I said, wisdom from the Course in Miracles. And it would actually be an opportunity for everybody to choose their own card. And we would always say, okay, Holy Spirit is going to choose this card for me specifically, or you specifically, and it's going to have a message that speaks to my heart or I need to hear. So if what I'm going to do with the cards, since you're not here in person, I'm going to choose a card for you, and I'm going to for the group. And I know that Spirit's in charge, and if it speaks to your heart, let me know if you're able, and we'll just talk about it. And I'm going to include myself in this, and these are messages for everyone who's tuned in here today, and for everybody who needs to feel and hear this message. So, this one is I think after this one we can just drop the mic. But anyway, I love this one. The peace of God is my one goal, the aim of all my living here, the end I seek, my purpose, my function, and my life. Well, like I said, drop the mic on that one, right? Well, there's nothing else but this. And I have such a sweet memory of Jerry Jampolsky, who, if you don't know who Jerry he's left this planet, and I'm sure shining his light brightly wherever he is. He was one of the original people involved with bringing the Course in Miracles into being. He was invited into that group that actually studied it and reflected on it and really got things moving. And he was a psychiatrist from California, right in the Bay Area. He worked with children with terminal disease, actually. And he got introduced to the Course. He saw great psychological value in the Course. And he said, I really believe this is powerful stuff. And he deemed it, the Course in Miracles, to be, he called it spiritual psychotherapy, which is really what it is. It's a healing of the mind, right? And he said, but the language being so Christian, and he was Jewish, and certainly it was not offensive to him, but he felt like the language could have been a factor in keeping people from being interested in it. And I'm sure he was right. So he created attitudinal healing, which is basically 12 steps for the Course in Miracles. You can look it up online, attitudinal healing. Those 12 steps are principles for living the Course in really easy layman's terms. So look it up, attitudinal healing, Jerry Jampolsky. Well, the reason I bring this up is because, and Spirit's just coming through here, maybe Jerry, right? He used to always recite this everywhere he was. And I'll tell a little funny story about Jerry. And that was, we invited him to come from Hawaii to West Palm Beach, to the Palm Beach Center for Living, to do a weekend seminar. And he shows up. He was at that time mid to late 70s, maybe. This was in the early 90s and mid 90s, I should say. Anyway, he gets off the plane. I pick him up at the airport. He's got on white pants and a aloha shirt. And he just had that big smile on his face. And he says, okay, take me to your friends who can use me. So again, that spirit of service, he was there and ready to go and to serve. So we went to one of the people in our spiritual community, the Palm Beach Center for Living. His name was Paul. He was quadriplegic, and he was ready to visit him, and we surprised Paul. We just walked in and Paul was like, oh my gosh. So anyway, we had a great conversation, and Jerry proceeds to say, are you coming to my talk this weekend? And he's like, no, I can't get transportation. He says, oh, really? So anyway, what happened, it was very interesting. And I'm going to tell you two things, because I guess this is what Spirit wants us to hear. Is Jerry said, well, what do you mean you can't get transportation? Well, it only goes till 5 o'clock. And of course, the evening lecture I couldn't make it to. And Jerry's like, well, why? He says, because you have to pay for it. And Jerry's like, well, how much is it? Paul said $100. Jerry's like, okay, here's $100. Well, then he said, I really want you to come. And Paul's like, well, then I got to change the gal who puts me to bed. I got to get her. I can't do that because then and Jerry's like, well, how much is that? And he said, I don't know, $100, whatever. Another $100 comes out of Jerry's pocket. Okay, now can you come? But every solution that Jerry offered, Paul was not willing to accept. And I'm not saying this as criticism at all. This is not what it's about. But when we got back in the car, Jerry said, you see what happened in there? He said, everything that I offered him to make it work, he found an obstacle to that. And it really stuck in my mind, like, how often is there really a solution? And of course, Wayne Dyer wrote the book, For Every Problem, There's a Spiritual Solution. Ultimately, there is. We just have to be willing to use this as our means for being, rather than looking at everything that could possibly go wrong. Say everything is in my favor. I see the universe as friendly. It supports me, and everything I need to be happy, joyous, and free is going to come my way if I just open myself up to receive it. But unfortunately, we tend to get into that everything that could go wrong. And guess what? It does, because we have fed that more than we fed this. So if we truly want the peace of God, which I know we all do, we say we do, and I know we desire that. I believe that wholeheartedly. But I think that often we find excuses like that keep us in fear and stuck. So the peace of God, I envision, Jerry, and just in his beautiful voice, just belting this out. And he said this often: the peace of God is my one goal, the aim of all of my living here, the end I seek, my purpose and my function in my life. That's it. We're here to experience, and the goal of our existence needs to be to find the peace of God and nothing else. If we really wanted it, we'd have it. We have to be honest with ourselves, not in judgment or condemnation, but how often we block our own good. There was a lady that came to the Palm Beach Center for Living, Irene, God bless her soul. She was 90s when she was there, so I know she's actually moved on, but great lady. Bible. She knew that Bible. She could recite it front to back. She was a Baptist Bible woman, and she got turned on to the Course in Miracles, and it changed her whole life and helped her to find reconciliation with things she was struggling with in Christianity, but embrace it more deeply. And one of her favorite quotes, or not quotes, but statements, is, "You're stepping on the hose. You're stepping on the hose." And so don't step on your hose is my point. So there you go. So the peace of God is our one goal. What else does Spirit have in mind? Before we go into this card, and I haven't even looked at it yet, I want to say I get a message of something to talk about. I didn't this week. I didn't worry about it. I said to Ellen this morning, I'm having coffee, and I'm like, I got to figure out something to talk about. I got to go work on my list. And I walked by the cards in the midst of our construction zone, and I'm like, oh, okay, that was the tap on the shoulder. We're drawing cards today. And that has enabled that, just as I trust and know that I'm going to be given what I need to be given to share with you each week. And I don't know what it looks like. So here we go. So it's fun. We're getting a good new way of being, and there we have it. So I love this too. To be born again is to let the past go and look without condemnation on the present. You know, that was that whole concept of born again. I'd be curious what it means to each and every one of you. I remember growing up in the Methodist Church, and and it seems like a lot of churches, obviously Christian churches, that they talk about being born again and being saved, and that just never made sense to me. I didn't reject it. It was just kind of like, well, what does that really mean? And being born again, and I was like, that's kind of weird, but I just sort of whatever. And anyway, that being said, I really, again, the Course in Miracles helped me to, that's what it means. Being born again, every moment we're reborn. And how are we reborn is to let the past go and look without condemnation in the present. So to be reborn is not dragging that bag of the past into the present moment. It's over, done. And we can't be reborn if we're carrying all of our suffering and pain and all this crap into the present moment, because, or where you can, but if you do, it's probably not that peaceful of a time you have. So the past is over. It doesn't exist anymore, except in my mind and my desire to carry it into this moment or not. Let it go. It doesn't serve any purpose. And to look without condemnation in the present is being neutral, watching the movie of our life, of our experience, without judgment, expectation, anticipation, whatever, fear, and letting Spirit be our eyes, have new vision. We're reborn in every moment. So if you had a crappy moment, guess what? This one right now doesn't have to be. Choose again. That's the miracle. So I would say being born again is the miracle, right? So moving on. Next card. What does Spirit want us to do here? These are like stellar. These are really some of the best. I mean, they're all good. I mean, there's a lot of them in here. You can't see lots, maybe a couple hundred at least. And the ones that Spirit's drawing for us are cool and amazing. So listen to this one. If you knew who walks beside you on the way that you have chosen, fear would be impossible. If you knew who walks beside you on the way that you have chosen or on the path that you have chosen, fear would be impossible. So if we feel lonely, if we feel afraid, we're not trusting. We're just not. We're focused on the illusion, our perceived problems. We all do it. Is it work? How's that working for you, right? It doesn't work very well for me. The good news is I recognize it and can jump out of that pretty quick these days, better than I used to. But if you knew who walked beside you on the way that you have chosen, fear would be impossible. So if you're feeling anxious or afraid, you're not walking in faith. You're not being born again because you're letting your past enter into the present. And it's not a very fun place to be. So if you knew who walked beside you on the path you've chosen, fear would be impossible. If you're afraid, choose again, be born again. And remember, your only goal is the peace of God. So cool that Spirit has a theme going here. And obviously it's for the group to hear, and it's pretty awesome. And the next one is beautiful as well. When you have accepted your mission to extend peace, you will find peace, for by making it manifest, you will see it. And that is so powerful, because really, if you knew who walked beside you on the path we've chosen, understand that my only goal is the peace of God and to be reborn again. And if we extend peace, giving and receiving are the same. All this world is a movie of like a movie screen of our thoughts and emotions and feelings projected onto it. So if you don't like the movie, change the channel. And how do you change the channel? Change your mind, change your thoughts, change your reality. So we have to be vigilant on what we allow into our field, because that wave of fear and negativity can overcome us and take us over. So we have to ride the wave of peace and prosperity and happiness and joy. We have to nurture that. Abraham Hicks, choose a better feeling thought. Simple, but very powerful. So when we do this, we naturally extend peace. Well, I sometimes think we've all heard the statement, fake it till you make it. So even if you're in the depths of despair, do something. Just extend peace, be kind. Anything you can do to change the direction of your thoughts, of your emotions. Choose a better feeling thought. We got to get out of this cycle of fear and bringing the past in. I know that we've been talking quite a bit on Fridays in our course about the power of the unconscious or subconscious mind. And that is really something to be considered, because that really is what drives us. And what is that? Well, if you believe in past lives, everything that hasn't been reconciled, this is my belief, is going to come with us. So it's kind of like, if you don't heal it in this lifetime, our soul is going to recreate what we need to learn to get it. So get it now, unless you want to repeat whatever you didn't learn, right? So, but anyway, so past lives, and before I actually go into this lesson, past lives, what does the Course in Miracles say about that? There's a section in the Manual for Teachers, or definition of terms, doesn't matter, one of those. Anyway, it says, is reincarnation so? And anyway, it says basically, in truth, no, because this life isn't even real. But I love the practicality of the Course, but it says, if using the concept of reincarnation is helpful, then use it with the Holy Spirit, because the atonement is what the Holy Spirit is here to lead us through, and that is the at-one-ment, the undoing of fear. And if we can let the Holy Spirit guide us, lead us, and direct us, we can ascend much more quickly out of the fear and the judgment in the past. So this subconscious thing, psychologists say that our, subconscious is pretty concretely formed by the time we're 5 years old. So our all these beliefs and patterns of thought and ideas and ideals that drive us into our adulthood are pretty concretely laid by the time we're 5. And then you think about all this stuff we carry in from past lifetimes. Well, that could be heavy. And then this morning, guess what? I was listening to another podcast, Christiane Northrop, and she's a retired OBGYN, a really brilliantly smart woman. And she was talking about, and I knew this to be true, but boy, I really heard her today, is that all the emotions that our mothers carried, brought into their bodies when they were carrying us, and the cigarette smoke, if they smoked, or the drinking, or the pills, or the anxiety, whatever, that is actually going into the bloodstream and feeding the baby. So we're carrying that too. So the good news is we're all, we chose that experience. I do believe we have soul contracts. So we did choose that mother because we needed to learn these lessons. So again, no guilt, nothing to feel freaked out about it. Just, wow, I chose these lessons from this person because that's what I came here to learn. And so, but the thing is, we're pretty immersed back to the subconscious. 95% of our being is a behavior response to life is subconscious. The Course says that the ego speaks first and loudest, meaning that that's that fight or flight, that quick response. It's like, where'd that come from? I mean, how? Wow. I've been flooding my mind with all this good stuff, and how did that evil thing come in, or whatever? Where'd that fear come from? And it's probably some unhealed aspect from a past life, from the womb, from something in this life that is coming up for healing. And that's the way it is. So when I was introduced to this years ago, I went to a lecture with Ken Wapnick, a master teacher of the Course, really considered to be the master teacher. He was definitely part of bringing this Course into being. And he used a screenshot. Wasn't 40 years ago, it wasn't a screenshot, but what those projectors, and they remember those anyway. So he showed the water, the ocean, and the tip of the iceberg. And what lies beneath is our unconscious. You got the tip of the iceberg, and then what lies beneath is like big and vast, and that is what we're dealing with. That's what we're undoing. So we are, the subconscious is there, ready and willing to guide us. Most people just sort of go through life just thinking that's the way it is. Well, that's the way my mother did it, and that's the way her mother did it. Well, yes, yes, and yes. But the good news is we can break the pattern, truly. We don't have to carry that ancestral garbage through, into the next generation. We can stop it. There's a lot of healing things that can be done to heal ancestral fears and patterns. So it's all very exciting. None of this is it's all just like, wow, that's very cool. So subconscious, what you need to do is again, invite the Holy Spirit into every moment. When that fearful thought or that reaction or judgment comes into the present, pause and choose again. Holy Spirit, show me another way. I choose to work myself out of this. And interestingly enough, we will be led to a more peaceful and happier way of being. So I'm going to pick one more card, and we'll see if this resonates with you. And I think we've got a little story going here. And we'll see what this card says, which is, of course, awesome again. God does not change his mind about you, for he is not uncertain of himself. When anything threatens your peace of mind, ask yourself, has God changed his mind about me? Well, God does not change his mind about you because he's so certain with himself that, I think that sadly, a lot of religious interpretations have put the fear of God into people, and we feel like that God's up there judging us and he's vengeful and angry, and that could be no further from the truth. God is a God of love. And, I always wondered about that when I'd heard that. I'm like, well, God is all good, only love. And what kicks would God get out of like judging and condemning and what have you? None, really. So that being said, God never changes his mind about us. Well, take that a step further. We are created we're holograms of God, which means within each of us contains the whole of God. So in truth, we are the light of God, and that's all. Everything else is made up. It's our stories, it's our programming, it's our subconscious, blah, blah, blah. So those who see themselves as whole make no demands. So if I really saw myself in this truth, as God knows for him, herself, is not uncertain of himself, herself. So when anything threatens my peace of mind or yours, ask yourself, has God changed his mind about me? No. So don't take it so seriously. Life's meant to be enjoyed. Have fun. Be happy. These lessons, these cards were fun. I hope you enjoyed them. And we'll tune in next week and see what Spirit has in mind. I have no idea. But in the meantime, just prayers for everybody. There's so many people dealing with some big stuff. And hey, we could all use a little more light and sunshine, right? And how do we do that? I'm going to go back to the peace of God is my one goal, the aim of all my living here, the end I seek, my purpose, and my function in life. If you do that, I think you're doing a darn good job. Have a great week, everybody. Namaste.